You're watching MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm Frank Trigg. Today we're talking to Matt Manzanares. He's getting ready to fight here in RFA coming up. He's a 5-1, 125 pounder getting ready to do some battle here. RFA now is the proving grounds for everybody. It seems like it's going to make the jump to the UFC. Matt, how you doing, bud?
I'm great, man. How about yourself?
Can't complain. Thanks for coming on here. A little bit of technical difficulties trying to get it put together, but it does seem like that everybody that is up there in Wyoming tends to not to be very technical savvy. It always seems to be a little bit of work to get things going. Is
No.
that kind of what you notice as well with the rest of your friends that are up there too?
Uh, you know, um, we usually don't use Skype around here. I never had it downloaded on my phone or anything, but, it was the first time for everything. And, yeah, we got it together, man. So
This will be your fourth fight for RFA. Your first one you lost to Stevenson, you lost in the Stevenson versus Cochran fight back at Aaron Eli, but that was your last loss, and that was back in June of 2012. So you've been doing pretty well since then.
Right.
Let's talk real quick about the Eli fight. What happened during that fight? You got caught in a submission choke in the second round. Kind of take me through that process and what happened to you, and then we'll talk about what you did to fix it since then.
Okay. I just kind of lost it, when I was fighting him. I don't know if I was a little too lethargic or whatever you want to call it. I was more focused on what I was trying to do, and he had a good ground game, a good submission game, and he kept going for my neck, and I noticed it, but I was getting out of it a lot, and towards the end of that second round or whatever, I happened to slip. We got in a good a scramble, and then I got back to my feet, and I went to go throw some bombs on him and stuff, and really tried to finish the fight right there, and then ended up slipping on the canvas. My mistake. And he locked up a guillotine, and it was one of those deep ones where I couldn't reach his hand. I didn't know where he was at, and he ended up catching me.
Okay. So was this something you had to go back to the drawing board and try to figure, okay, I'm getting caught in guillotines, or is this one of those crap, I got caught, it was just a part of the fight after a crazy scramble, and I just got caught a little bit?
Yeah, it was just one of them things. I just kind of got caught. Like I said, I was kind of tuned into my game and stuff like that, and tuned into the fight, and I slipped. All the credit to him. He locked it up pretty tight, and it was well done. But it wasn't something that that I needed to go back to the drawing board and think I had to work on. No, it wasn't anything.
All right. Well, since then, back in like I said, that was back in June of 2012. November of 2012, RFA 5, you won by KO, knee to the body, which is a devastating way to put somebody down. I mean, there's a lot to be said about somebody hits you in the head. A bunch of times you make them fall, but if you can hit them with a knee to the body and you put them down, that's a big deal. That's one of those surprise knockouts that can ruin a guy's career if he gets caught by it. Then the fight after that, that was in August of 2013. You get a submission by armbar. And if you look at your record, your last three fights, you fought 3 times, I believe, in 2012, 4 times in 2012, and then you've only fought once so far in 2013, according to the record that I have in front of me. Is that your real record? Is that what happened?
Yeah. I was scheduled to fight Sergio Pettis at RFA 7 in Broomfield back in March, and I had to pull out due to an injury. So that kind of set me back a couple of months, and finally got my shot at RFA 9 in August. So yeah, that's what kind of happened. I ended up beating Kevin Gray in November. And then I was scheduled to fight Sergio in March, and then, I think it was in February, I got injured and had to pull out, so it kind of sent me back.
And then in August, you ended up fighting Steve Swanson. You beat him by armbar in the second round. Relatively easy fight for you. Kind of went out there and ran your way around him. Sergio Pettis, you were supposed to fight him, but you won't fight him at least in the RFA. He's now gone on and moved on to the UFC with a 9-0 record. You're not too far behind him at 5-1. Has there been any talks of the UFC looking at you right now for the 125-pound division? Because they obviously need the depth, and they need fighters that know how to fight at that weight class.
Yeah, definitely. I know my management has spoken with the UFC and Sean Shelby. I think they've been looking at me for a while. They've wanted me to get a few more wins and a few more noticeable wins, actually, under my belt, which is, perfectly fine and understandable. So yeah, I mean, I'll be ready as soon as they call me, and that's been my dream, ever since I started fighting, was to fight in the UFC. Obviously, they're the best promotion in the world, but yeah, whenever they decide to call my number, I'll be ready.
Well, let's talk about winning your next one then. Zach Makovsky is your next one. Makovsky, excuse me. 15-4. As far as a huge step up in experience level. I mean, you've only got 6 fights. He has almost as many as that in losses. So this is a big step up for you as far as competition goes on paper, as far as his experience level. How do you see him as a fighter? How do you break him down?
I think he's a great fighter. He's, an outstanding wrestler. His single leg is money every time. Um, Seen him fight in Bellator quite a few times. Every time he was on TV, I watched him fight, and I thought he was great. I thought, yeah, this kid's pretty good, and basically, as far as the experience level goes, yeah, he's fought on some big shows, and of course, he's the former world champion for Bellator. He got a lot of experience, but so do I. I've been fighting since I was a kid, and that's just what I'm known for. Is I'm a humble guy, but put me inside of a cage or a ring with somebody, I go there to fight, and I work my butt off to do it. So I'll be ready.
You can see Matt take on Zach at RFA 11 coming up on November 22nd at First Bank Center in Denver, Colorado. For you folks at home, you'll be able to watch it on Access TV if you have access to that channel. If if some of my people at home that have not seen you fight before, and you're trying to explain to them, kind of how you fight, how would you describe your personal style of fighting?
My personal style is, it's nothing too fancy, but it's not boring. Um, I could finish guys on the feet and on the ground, so you never know what you're gonna get. I train very hard in all areas of mixed martial arts, but I go in there to finish fights, and I go in there to show that I'm the best fighter in the cage at that time. You're gonna see some really good stand up from me, some good takedown defense, and some good jujitsu. So you're just gonna see an all around complete fighter, and I'll probably end up pulling something off, something special come fight night.
Matt, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us here at MMA Oddsbreaker. Good luck on November 22nd. We'll talk to you soon, buddy.